It's midnight. It's midnight. Your phone lights up in the dark and you already know what it is. Not love, not peace, not an apology. It's a message that sounds sweet, but feels sharp. A soft sentence with a hidden blade, and you're sitting there staring at it, wondering how someone who cares can keep leaving you feeling smaller. You tell yourself she's just emotional, just stressed, just misunderstood. But deep down, you feel the pattern. This isn't random. It's psychology. At first, she was magnetic. She looked at you like you were rare. She spoke to you like you were different. She made you feel chosen. Then slowly, you started adjusting your tone, measuring your words, reading her moods like weather. One wrong sentence and she turns cold. One boundary and she calls you controlling. One honest moment and suddenly you are the problem. Let me explain why. Ego doesn't always look like arrogance. Sometimes it looks like pride. Sometimes it looks like I know my worth. Sometimes it looks like confidence with perfect posture. But when ego becomes a survival mechanism, it turns love into a battlefield. Because an ego-driven woman doesn't ask, how do we fix this? She asks, how do I win? And the moment winning matters more than understanding, love starts bleeding. Here's the truth. Ego protects the image, not the connection. It wants to be right. It wants to be admired. It wants to feel powerful. So instead of vulnerability, you get performance. Instead of accountability, you get excuses. Instead of I'm sorry, you get you made me do it. That's not love, that's control. And control is fear wearing a crown. Ego cannot handle being seen clearly. Because if you see her flaws, she feels exposed. And exposure feels like danger. So she reacts the only way ego knows how. She deflects. She attacks. She rewrites the script. You tell her something hurt you. She calls you too sensitive. You ask for respect. She calls you insecure. You ask for consistency. She calls you needy. Notice the move. Your needs become your weaknesses because ego doesn't negotiate. Ego dominates. Now let's break down exactly how ego destroys her best relationships. First, it kills peace. Peace requires humility, and ego hates humility. Ego wants intensity, drama, emotional spikes. It confuses chaos with passion. So she starts fights over small things. She pokes, she tests, she provokes. Not always because she wants you to leave, but because she needs to feel powerful enough to keep you. This isn't random, it's psychology. Second, it destroys accountability. A fragile ego cannot say, I was wrong, because wrong feels like weak, and weak feels like unsafe. So she justifies, she reframes, she blames, and every time she escapes accountability, trust dies quietly. Because trust is built on truth, and ego hates truth when it reveals imperfection. Third, it weaponizes attention. When ego is hungry, love becomes leverage. She wants to know she's still desired, still chased, still the prize. So she keeps orbiters, flirts with validation, posts things meant to trigger reactions, not always to cheat, but to feel powerful, to feel chosen without having to choose back. And if you react, she calls you insecure. But the real insecurity is hers, because she needs constant proof she still matters. Real life scenario. You've been loyal. You've been consistent. You've shown up. Then you set one calm boundary. Don't speak to me like that. She laughs, rolls her eyes, hits you with, "Oh my God, you're so dramatic." And you feel it. That moment when respect drops to the floor. Because an ego-driven woman doesn't see boundaries as healthy. She sees boundaries as a threat to control, so she tests them. She pushes, she punishes, she withdraws affection to make you comply. That's not love, that's control. And the worst part? Ego doesn't just damage the relationship, it damages her ability to keep a good man. A strong man can feel when he's being managed instead of loved. He can feel when intimacy is currency. He can feel when every disagreement becomes a power contest. And eventually, he stops fighting. Not because he stopped caring, because he realized he's competing with an ego that will never be satisfied. Now, the transformation. For you, stop trying to prove your worth to someone who needs to win. Stop negotiating basic respect. Stop explaining what should be obvious. Get calm, get clear. Enforce standards without anger. Because when you argue with ego, you lose yourself. But when you detach from ego, you gain power. And for her, if she ever grows, it starts with one brutal realization. Her ego didn't protect her. It robbed her. It robbed her of intimacy, robbed her of peace, robbed her of a love that requires humility and trust. Because real love demands the one thing ego hates: surrender. Not surrender to a man, surrender to truth. So, here's the closing lesson. The best relationships aren't destroyed by lack of love. They're destroyed by pride that refuses to soften, by an ego that would rather be right than be close, by a need to win instead of a desire to understand. If you're sitting there wondering why it always turns into a power struggle, now you know.